What up, scholars? It's me, Pickles, back at you to talk to you about how best to make your Changemaker collage. You've already, hopefully, are done with your research. You've done a good job. You watched that video. You've taken good notes. Perhaps you've written your paragraph about what makes your changemaker a changemaker based on traits. Remember, you need two pieces of evidence. Well, we'll talk more about that at some point. Today, we're just going to focus on your changemaker collage and how best to make a changemaker collage. So first of all, when you pull up your turn-in document, you'll see something like this. This is on the fourth slide. So examples of good collages. Everything that's off to the side here where it says examples of good collages is not going to go on your collage. So if you go outside of the white at all, that will not show up. So it's important that you make everything on that. That is your canvas. Okay, so if you click on that examples of good collages, which you see up in the corner there, that can give you some examples of students who performed well previously. It doesn't mean they're perfect, but it gives you some ideas if you start getting stuck. Okay, so you also notice there are 4 things that all your collages, the best collages, are going to include. So let's make sure we review them. It should have the name of your changemaker in large font, so that should be really obvious to see. It shouldn't be like, who am I looking at? Okay, also make sure you capitalize the first and last names. Okay, also you need it to be obvious what their birth and their death dates are. If they don't have a death date, you just say when they were born. You could say born to present. Another thing you need is 10, count it, 10 things you learned from the article or video that you think people should know about them. This should not include name, should not include birth and death, and it should not include anything to do with their changemaker traits, right? They were brave because, nope, that is separate. These are 10 things that you learned from the video and the article, okay? Then you should have pictures with short phrases that capture what those things are. So let's look at some examples of ones that people have done and talk about the good and the bad. So here's one on Jean-Michel Basquiat, right? Okay, all of my people are Jean-Michel Basquiat. So if you notice right here, we have a great picture of him down in the corner. And right away I can tell who it is because I see the writing. And it's nice and big. It's his name. It's off the corner. It's right there. Okay, so here are other things that I notice right away. What do you see, right? It's perfectly spaced. There's no empty spaces. It's well thought out. Visually, this is very pleasing to the eye. Okay, if I was going to say a couple things that I would change, I'm wondering why the creator made some things in white at larger fonts than other things. That makes it sound like those are more important. So if it were me, I would go back and I would change that so that they were all the same fonts. But what I also love is how short all of the phrases are. Okay, great. Let's look at another one. Okay, let's look at this one, right? Right away, I love how we have a picture of Jean-Michel right in the middle. Very easy. I love that. It's a very classic picture. Makes you think of it, right? Think of him. Here are some of the challenges of this one. So much writing, right? So much writing. Not sure that is what we needed. I think this person learned a lot about Jean-Michel, but I don't get that idea. Like, I am not going to learn much about him, right? Okay. Also, like, I know this is Brooklyn because I am older, I've been around, but like, not everybody's going to know that this connects with this. Okay. So those are things that you're going to want to fix. Also, think about the spacing here. All right, let's look at the next one. This one. All right, so this one looks a little different. Okay, so if you notice, I love the artistry. This one is beautifully done with almost all the same kinds of drawings. I love that the font looks the same, and we see that we have a lot of the same balance out. I love that the names at the top looks great. This one looks very solid. If it were me, I would add a few more things, maybe here, right? We've got some empty spaces, or maybe over here. And, all right, so there's that one. And then the last one. All right, this one is great. This is well done. We have some differences in the way that the font is, and I know that on the original it was a different font and it carried out, but if you look at your spacings, we need some different spacings in different areas. I love the art of this one, okay, but I don't get as much of what we've learned over it. So you see some of the examples. Now, as a reminder to you, you can go back and always look at some more up where these examples are if you need some samples of things that are doing well. All right, good luck. I look forward to seeing your final project.